Thank you so much for sticking to Y254 once again. My name is Cheryl Blessing and you are watching the Power Talk Show. Before we took our very short break, we were having a conversation of self-care in women, for women in leadership. That's the one thing I want us to get into, because during the first half, we have been talking about what it means to be a leader. What are some of the challenges that have been hindering the generation and the gender from taking up these roles? I am joined here by Belinda Odhiambo and Susanna Kataka, who have been giving me some wonderful insights. I'm loving the conversation so far because we have understood that a leader empowers whoever they're leading. There's an aspect of empowerment, and we've also uncovered some of the challenges that we've been facing, the things that we are battling. And on that note, I want to hear from you as well, because the question I have asked you on our social media platforms is, what do you think is the biggest challenge that the women in leadership, particularly in Kenya, what are they fighting with? What are some of the challenges that they're dealing with? I want you to go to our platforms at Y254 and let me know, and we will sample your comments as we progress. So before we took our short break, I just talked about the difference in generations, where there's a new generation where women are empowered. And just to give an example, I was hanging out with one of my younger cousins. She's 8 years old, and then another one is about 6. So yesterday I was hanging out with them and we were watching something about women who are, I think it was Charlie's Angels, a movie about women who are like spies and they fight. Yeah. And it's so cool. I was telling them, yeah, you know, being a woman who does this is amazing. And they're looking at me like, of course. Duh. And I was like, oh my God, you guys are lucky you grew up in this era where women are empowered. I was in the transition of women just getting, the girl child getting recognized and empowerment starting, and now to that era. And the people who grew up in an era where women were completely neglected. We did not go to school, we weren't allowed to get education. You were just there. We existed for childbearing and maintaining the homestead, because we have our grandparents, our great-grandparents who've existed through that. Then our parents got to an era where there was some empowerment, but not enough. So women were being trained to be, yeah, go to school, you can be a nurse, you can be a teacher. And then the men are like, yeah, be doctors, go be lawyers, go be leaders, you can be president. Now we are in an era where women are actively even competing for the positions of presidency. But we're still fighting with all this because we have a mix-up of every generation in our societies who make the choices for the country.
Right.
So what can we do about that? How can we educate the older generation? Because now we're focusing on the younger generation. But what about the older generation who are still opinionated, who are still fixated in their ways? And these are the people who still hold majority of the leadership positions. Susanna, in your opinion, what do you think we can do about that?
I think for me, it's about powering on anyway. Because sometimes you can focus so much on like, let's let them know how we're doing so they can join us on this side of the fence. No, how about we build the fence, make it great, let them watch us do it, and then it's like they'll automatically have to join. Because the focus seems like I have to make dad understand that I'm going to be this good. I have to get to this point. I have to get, no, let me get to that point. Let him watch me climb up this ladder and then go like, oh, actually, this is what's happening now. This is 2024. Then that's my show of respect for their generation. Because that thing of like, going back to pull them in is the opposite of what we should be doing. Not that we don't value what the traditions were or how they brought us up, but not so much energy should be placed on that, I think now. Because we are trying to raise kids. I have an 18-year-old. So if I keep going back there and she doesn't see me progressing, then pick from me, then there's an imbalance. So that's my opinion on it.
We need to focus on the future as opposed to the past.
Yes, still release and collect from what they had, but at the same time, you power on. Let them see you power on. It's what they were pushing you to do anyway. Like I tell my dad, you sent me to the US to do this. So if you criticize something I've done, I'm like, by the way, so where's the conversation going to go from there? And then I can see he goes like, actually, yeah, that was the idea behind that. Then it just clicks.
That's true.
Yeah, but I come from a family that's a little bit different. I mean, you're a teacher and a diplomat, so as the conversations are on point. We just like...
So some of the things you need to show instead of
show.
teach.
Yes.
Just show by what you're doing.
Yeah, and we're raising kids too. So they're looking at us. They're not looking at my parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, then there's a level of history, but she's looking at me too to show her.
That's good.
Cheryl, 4 years ago, I quit my job. My parents were mad at me because they believe in being formally employed. But here I told them I wanted to start my own consultancy firm. They were looking at me like, you're cray-cray. How can you quit a formal job that gives you a good salary and then you just decide to be a consultant? But I didn't talk to my parents for like 6 months. Then eventually we made up and I registered a consultancy firm. I started doing the work, and right now I earn, or I charge $250 per hour as a consultant. And looking back, my dad keeps on telling me that I wish I had the same courage that you have. You have shown me a different path. Had I had that courage when I was growing up, or I was your age, I will be turning 37 this month on 12th, he would have been far, because he has passions that he didn't, pursue.
Yeah.
He's a very good artist. He's very artistic. But he chose to stay in his career path because that is the mentality they had, that the only way you can make money and fend for your family is through formal employment. So I agree and join Susanna when she says you have to show them. Yes, if you take that if you take up that responsibility and leadership, despite the odds, despite the push and pull you'll get from your parents, if you know that you are on the right track, eventually you don't have to convince them with your words, but your actions will make them
prove to them.
Exactly.
I love that. And you know that really speaks to so many people, because there are people who want to tell and educate and actively speak about it. But you just need to do, and then they'll see. So when you're transitioning through that, it's not easy. First of all, for you to decide, I'm quitting this path, I'm going to a very unknown path, I'm starting my own journey, I'm taking up leadership. It's not easy, because that is not the only role that you have. Our counterparts, the males, have the luxury of holding maybe a few, like 3, 4 roles. Women hold up to 10, 15, 20 different roles at the same time, and you have to juggle that day by day. It's not in a week you have these different roles.
They're still training matriarchs.
Exactly.
You're trying to be professional, you're still a matriarch.
You wake up, you have to be a wife,
taking over
you have
from
to
your
be a mom, you have to be, you're the leader of this family, not just your personal family, the extended. So how do you maintain your sanity through all that? Because now we're talking about self-care for women in leadership. How do we take care of ourselves through this journey of trying to take up leadership roles? Susanna, you're the self-care expert.
So I tell people this all the time. Since you're trying to do 2 things at one time, society will still make you the matriarch. My mom is the matriarch. Now she's getting older, so I've been assigned the matriarch as the lead girl in the family. So that is not something I can say I'm not going to do at all. I'm still going to have to take that role. Then I'm going to be the professional, I'm still trying to climb. So the idea is being intentional, saying, okay, I know I have to do all these things, but I'm going to stop. What do I have to do for Susanna? It sounds easy. It's not. It's not at all. I even journey the same way myself. I'm always like, I have to actually stop and say, okay, I'm not going to send this much money for this time, because I'm going to go to this place and take care of myself. I just have to stop. It doesn't have to be anything grand like that. You just have to say, okay, this month, after the 2,000 shillings is not going there. It's going to be my airtime, not your airtime.
That's true.
Intentionality, period.
Yeah.
And that's something that you're going to have a lot of guilt about. So know the guilt is coming with it. Know that you'll get a lot of, Akutuma pesa at Christmas, how much you didn't do this, I didn't get you normally send me 5K. Well, this time you're getting 3. And I'm getting 2. My friend did a lot of work on me with that one, because I'm notorious for, she calls me Mother Christmas. If she hears this, she'll laugh. Because
you want to spoil
I chop that money.
everyone.
Yes, because I get a certain good feeling that I know that everybody's doing great now. That's a matriarch. You see, I'm feeding the matriarch, right? Then I go to work, I'm the clinician, I'm doing all this stuff, I'm starting a new company and all that, and I feel, okay, I'm feeding the professional. Who's feeding Susanna?
Exactly.
You talk about the cake, that you have to have your own cake, and the cake is yours. When you think about a cake, it's like the ingredients it takes to put in. That's your entire life. The cake is yours, right? So I decide how much I'm going to give you. Today, you have a piece of my cake because I'm at your studio. I said, okay, you're going to get this slither, and we're going to talk about this piece. But I had to give you that piece of cake.
That's true.
It was mine, right? I could have said, okay, see, I didn't happy, no, see, I didn't make chocolate, or whatever it is. I could have just not shown up.
Exactly.
So when you think about it in that concept, you can say, okay, somebody's sick today. They get a big piece. Oh, walipona. No. And
I
then
love
some
that.
days with intention, you just don't give anybody the cake. That's when you're like super exhausted. You've used every single thing of you, the professional part, the matriarchal part, and you say, okay, in this case, this is my cake. I wouldn't want to cut it. I'm just going to eat it like ugali. This is my cake today, and nobody's going to have to wait.
That's true.
So intention, knowing that you own that piece, it's all yours. You decide who gets what.
Yeah.
No matter how much noise you get. It gets easier as you get older. In my 30s, I was like, I don't know, maybe. Now I'm 48. I'm like,
I really love that.
It's okay.
Because so many
You can
women,
wait.
even with my friends,
yeah.
my peers, we struggle with balancing that. Because I'm trying to be a professional, I'm trying to be a daughter,
Yeah.
I'm trying to be a girlfriend somewhere, I'm trying to be a sister. Sijui taking care of shosho.
Too many roles.
I have to
Too
call
many
people.
roles.
Yo.
Yeah.
And you still have to be on top of even your self-care. You have to come out looking your best.
And you'll get called out if you don't.
You will,
They'll be like,
regardless
"Yeah,
of how
sick?"
you're feeling.
Yeah,
Oh no, you
exactly.
can't be sick.
No.
By the same people you're taking
By
care
the
of.
same people you are. And you know, I can imagine with Belinda, we
Yes.
know each other.
Yes.
So last year when I met Belinda, we went to this conference and Belinda told me, I'm signing up for this class. And when I'm done with this one, I'm taking on this other one. And I know she's also doing 50 other things on the side, not to mention the things that she needs to do at home.
Yes.
Right.
So through all that, because you have to go to class, you have to maintain your job, you have to talk to clients, engage with this, that, maintain your social life, and
Yes.
still be the best mom and wife
Mom and
at
wife,
home,
yeah.
which are two different things that are coming to the same
Which is
household.
counted as
It
your
is the-
baseline.
yes,
You're supposed to be
exactly.
mom and wife first, and then everything will come from there.
Yeah.
And you cannot let
Yeah.
the ball drop.
Yeah. You
So I
can't,
want to know, how do you keep juggling all these balls? That's the one thing I want to know. But before we get into that, let me hear from you guys, because I've asked you a question. What do you think is the biggest challenge for women in Kenya who are taking on leadership positions? What do you think is some of the biggest challenges that they're dealing with, the women leaders in Kenya? What are some of the challenges that they're facing? So let me sample the comments that you've shared. This is from Facebook. We have Kiri. Let me say Kiri, because I can't read the other one. I'm sorry, I don't have my specs on. He says, one, I think women leadership lacks unity. Some of the voices in leadership do not put up their voices together and have one strong message. Two, he says, mentorship isn't there. Thank you so much for that. Mark Poldowski amesema, hello Cheryl B, the show is amazing, thank you. The topic is very interesting too. Always tuned in from Chogoria, TNC County, Asante. We have Augustine Rabbit who says good evening to you. Julius Murega, who is tuned in from Nyeri Town, thank you. And we still have some more rolling, but let me go back to the first comment. And then I want to tie it with what I asked about how we keep the ball juggling. He said, Kiri has said, I think women leadership lacks unity. Some of the voices in leadership do not put up their voices together and have one strong message, and mentorship isn't there. We've talked about mentorship.
Yeah.
And then there's also this aspect of people thinking there's lack of unity. Women fight against women. And we have experienced some women who want to put you down. They will see you juggling 10 different things and they say,
You think you're all that?
yeah, you think you're
Yes,
all
I'm all
that.
that.
They'll try
Yes,
to put
and
you
then
down
some.
because they personally cannot handle what you're doing.
Yes.
And they are like, why would you do
Yes.
that? You're a wife, you're a
Yeah.
mom. You've already accomplished what you need to do, so you need to just chill.
Or you're failing at this.
You're failing at
You're
this.
being
You're
a
not,
bad
yeah,
mom
you've
because now
neglected your
yes,
husband. You're
yes.
at work 24/7.
Yes.
That's not the reality that the men have to face.
Yes. Yeah.
Men can leave home at 3 a.m., come home at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
No one will ask them. As long as they're providing, paying rent, doing the bare minimum, that's good.
Yeah.
Belinda, how do you keep the balls juggling, and how do you come together with powerful women who are also empowered and they push you to be better and do better?
First of all, I want to mention that my rule number one, is that you cannot pour out of an empty cup. I have to be full before I give you anything. If I remain empty, I will never pour to you. So I make sure that I am intact mentally, spiritually, physically, socially, and financially. Yes, that is something I needed to put out there, that do not keep on pleasing people until you run empty. Make sure that you're full first. Even for your husband, for you to give your husband love, you have to be full of love first.
Yeah.
For you to do anything to your children, you have to have it first. So make sure that you're full. Take good care of yourself if you want to take better care of the people around you.
Yes.
So, and then the second question, where you mentioned that, how do I juggle?
Yeah.
There's a tool I use called my perfect week schedule. Yes, I have to be very intentional about what I do at every time, because there are tasks that are so hard. We call them the elephant in the room, things that they're hard or difficult. So if you do not start with them, you might end up postponing until you never get to do them.
Yeah.
So make sure that you have a schedule to help you to become intentional about what you want to achieve for the day. Have have a schedule for your day. Tomorrow, this is what I want to do. On Tuesday, this is what I want to achieve, so that at the end of that day, you should look back and see whether you achieved that task. Did you complete it? And if you didn't complete it, when are you going to complete it? So that is how I manage to balance. I even put in my schedule coffee dates with my girlfriends, because
Yeah.
if you do not put that, you'll find that your husband has taken all the time, or you are on Facebook just doing something that is yes, because sometimes you don't have to go to social media all the time if it is not helping you, not unless you are a social media manager. Then why are you staring at your phone the whole day? You keep on scrolling. So you have to be very intentional, and then also have a certain time just for yourself to think about what you want in life. Where do I want to be in the future?
Yeah.
If I want to be, let me just use a good example. I want to be a news presenter, or I want to become what Cheryl is today. You are a show host.
Yeah.
How do I become a show host? I have to go to school. I have to do A, B, and C. How do I get to reach out to Y254? So you have to be very intentional, and yes, you will achieve
love
whatever you
that.
want.
I love especially the part where you talk about scheduling and being intentional. These days when I'm talking to my friends and I'm like, I can't make it this week. Let me pen you in for next week. And I have to be intentional. I have to
just stop.
schedule.
Yeah.
And say, I'm going to make 1 hour for you just to catch up and touch base.
Yes.
Because we need to balance all that. Yeah. And okay. Yes, you wanted
I've
to add
remembered
something?
there's a comment that came up that women compete a lot.
Yeah.
So there is lack of unity. At the bottom of the pyramid, people compete. But at the top of the pyramid, people collaborate.
I love
People
that.
who have money have no time for competition. So if you want to stay at the bottom of the pyramid, then you'll keep on competing. Oh, I don't like how she did her makeup. You're looking at the minor things.
Yeah.
Just look at, how can I partner with Susanna so that I can take my brand a notch
Build it,
higher?
Yeah.
Even Waswahili walisema kidole kimoja hakivunji chawa. So you're just on your own, you're in your own kiosk, yet imagine if you partnered with Susanna.
Yeah.
You
Build
would,
it,
I would go global. Right now I'm in US while I'm at Kenya. And
Yeah.
Susanna is in Kenya while she's working in US.
Yeah.
So this is how powerful we can get when we collaborate and instill partnerships in
I
our
love
businesses.
that.
Yes.
And the one thing I can totally attest is knowing Belinda. Belinda is all about collaboration.
Yeah, it's a
She
good
will
thing,
meet.
yeah.
The first time I met her, I didn't even know her personally, but I felt that you wanted the best for me. She was like, "Oh my God, we need to do
Same.
this. We need to
Yeah.
push your brand. We need to do
Yeah.
more." And she has driven me to even pursue more. And that's one thing I've even noticed from the circles that have powerful women, influential women. They will sit together, they will collaborate, they will empower
build,
each
yeah,
other.
yeah,
It's about building up. But then the reality is, there are those people who they just want to break you down. And the one idea we come across is someone who's at the bottom will want to put you down, to bring you down to their level. But someone who's at the top will want to elevate you. They'll want to teach you how to get there. So how then, Susanna, how can we know which are the right circles, which are the wrong circles? How do we draw the boundaries between our acquaintances, our friendships? How do we assess and know I'm in the right group? I'm in a group that has a future, as opposed to huku ni drama tu, watu wanasengenyana, sijui nini.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think about it. I think we talked before. You know, I'm always animating things. When I talk about the cake, I think about myself. a stadium. So I'm on the one on the stage, and I have different friends. So you should have different friends for different categories. Do not go to the friend that you talk about stuff for mke nyumbani and talk about your professional stuff. Unless there's a trigger there or there's something that she's talking about that is leading there and you can take her there.
Yeah.
And vice versa. So I always seem like I'm performing. So if the people who are here, the ones who are closest to me, they're my day-to-day people.
Yeah.
If something goes wrong, it's a continuum still. If you mess up and you're not in the space where I'm in or you're putting me down, then guess what? I take you out of your seat and I put you 4 rows down.
Yeah.
And somebody who is supporting me will come down. So I'm constantly shuffling, but I know who to put in what space. Because if you start mixing everybody in the same bowl, the one you tell the closest things to might not be the one who's great for you professionally.
Yeah.
So just know which categories to have. And it's okay to shift them around too, without any guilt. I think guilt is the biggest thing that we struggle with.
That's true.
We just do.
Yeah.
We talk about juggling the balls. I'm like, for me, it's like if one fell, it's fine. Just no matter which one fell. Is it if my daughter fell, that's the world stops.
Yeah.
So some of them will have to fall. So it's okay if it falls down. Calm down, get over the guilt. You can always pick it up. So don't feel like you're always just trying to, all of them have to be caught. Even before the juggling starts, all the balls are on the floor before the guy starts juggling.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah,
And
so
it's all
stop
about
overdoing it and
Yeah.
getting too guilty about it. You're going to drop the ball. It's okay.
Yeah.
Just know which ones are the ones that can't fall. I
Yes.
can't fall because nobody's going to juggle.
I love that.
Yeah, and then if
Now,
it matters
in
to me,
that-
then it can't fall.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
In that same breath, how do we also set boundaries, healthy boundaries, and let, sometimes, especially with our parents, the close people to us, our relatives, they do not
Yes.
understand what boundaries are. They will tell you
Yes.
exactly what they feel like you should
Yes.
be doing with your life, regardless of whatever you think.
Yes.
So how do we set the boundaries? Because both of you have experienced situations where you had to stand up to your parents and tell them, this is what you want, but this is what I want, and this is what I'm doing, regardless of you. How do we set boundaries, even in our friendships, in our relationships,
Yeah.
so that you prioritize yourself? How do you do that, Belinda?
I have learned to know my non-negotiables, what I cannot take from anyone. It doesn't matter who you are. There are things that if you do, we are done. And I keep on doing friendship audits or inner circle audits after every 6 months to check, is this the same person I met 6 months ago? Does she have good intentions in this friendship, or is she here as someone who wants to pull me down? So there are things that I do not accept. Those are your non-negotiables. And every human being needs to have a non-negotiable. Things that you cannot take from anyone. There are things that you would not do. Even if the president of Benin, let me just use the president of Benin, told you, but you respect them, but it doesn't align to your core values or your principles, then you just say no. And learn to say no without explanation,
No, it's a
because
sentence,
no is a complete sentence. I do not have to explain to you why I can't go with you to a bar.
Yeah.
Just no, simply no. I can't do it. That is how you start setting your boundaries, and before you know it, people will respect them.
I love
because you have
that.
to
Yeah.
boundary up. You have to boundary up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really love that because it speaks on, it's just having a standard.
Yes.
It's having your limits and you do not
Yes.
cross. Something
You
that does not
can't.
work within your standards
Yeah.
does not need to exist in your space.
Yes.
And so many women find it hard to place those standards because we always constantly like to compromise on
Yeah.
this or the other. And women also judged a bit harshly.
Yeah.
You do something, it's overly analyzed.
Yeah.
Every single thing is overly analyzed. So perhaps, Susanna, you can tell us how to really, really understand what matters to us, what are our standards, because as we get older,
Yeah.
we get more bolder in the choices that we make and we
Yeah.
stand on business. So that's a theme that's been going around this year about standing on business.
Yeah.
But most younger women find it hard to do that because they still feel like, oh, I need to do this. I need to give some leeway. I need to understand and, give all these people all this space around. So
Yeah.
how do we do that? And then we'll wind up by talking about how we also take care of our physique in our whole day because, tunaweza kuwa tunafanya 1,000 things, but if you get sick today, it won't matter.
done, yeah.
Yeah,
It's all
so
done.
please let's merge the two because time is
Okay.
not on our
Yeah.
side.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think Like we said, mentorship. We always say
Yes,
mentorship. Seek
mentorship.
mentors. They don't have to be like somebody grand. Like mentorship. If I'm a mother, I need a good mother to be a mentor for me. I also believe strongly in therapy.
Yeah.
I've been in therapy for the longest time, and I think change my therapist depending on what's going on. So if you can, and therapy doesn't always come from a professional. It should, and it needs to be objective. But sometimes the therapy of talking to a good friend is enough.
Yeah.
But for me, I've always been in therapy because now I've got an objective person to call me out. I have one who always told me, so now you're good at collecting red flags. That was it for me. Just stop collecting red flags, you know, because I kept giving excuses. So those things got me going quicker and quicker the more I thought about it. So mentorship and therapy. Those have gotten me this far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need therapy. That's something that we
Yes.
constantly keep talking about.
It's completely
We
objective.
need-
You get called out by an
Yeah.
objective person, and therefore
Who'll
you stop
tell you
your
the
excuses.
truth.
Yeah, you're like, how you're setting standards. You're telling them your standards.
Exactly.
They're like, how about we meet your standards?
Yeah, because you know,
We
friends
talked last
sometimes
week.
will
What have you
coddle
done different? Yeah,
Friends will tell you, no,
Friends will
imagine
call
it's the other
yeah.
person's fault. It
No,
wasn't you.
no.
You need someone to be real and tell
A
you
good
you are
therapist
the
will call you out.
problem.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, how do we also take care of our physical health? Because Belinda, we go through our lives. You know, one time I was going through 9 to 5s, and then I had like 5 different side jobs. I barely had time to even sleep. And rest, because when you don't prioritize your sleep, it affects your mental health, it affects your productivity.
Yeah.
When you don't prioritize what you eat, what you put into your body, even just meditation, taking time off to just relax and be away from all the noise. How do you create time for that in your busy,
busy
schedule,
schedule.
by maintaining everything else, but still saying, I need 1 hour, I need 8 hours of rest every single night?
Yeah, there's a course I did on occupational safety and health about half a decade ago. And there's something they taught us that, especially at the workplace, and you have a sedentary lifestyle, what you need to do is after every 1.5 hours,
Yeah, set
take
the
a
alarm.
health break. Set an alarm, be very intentional, take a walk. If you have like, back then where I was working, there was a trampoline at the backyard. So you could find kubabas jumping on a, you know, just to help themselves to get refreshed and also to enable you to in your physique so that your blood, there's enough blood flow and also your mind becomes alert.
Yeah.
And apart from that, you should enroll for wellness programs.
Yeah.
There are organizations that have wellness programs for their employees. And if you're a business person, you can also enroll for a gym. Yes. Usiseme nitaanza kesho. Kesho haifikangi. Start today. You
Yeah.
get it. Yes.
Intention, yeah.
Be very intentional. And then when it comes to sleep, you just need to teach and train yourself to get enough sleep.
Stay off the phone.
Yes, stay off the phone, especially screen time. Yes, I
You're
can
doing
see you
that,
laughing,
Bex.
I know.
Yeah.
Hey, yo,
Because
TikTok.
No, get an app that's for sleep.
Yes,
Yeah.
And then
yes.
just get off that, and if you have to be, it'll just sit there and make a noise, rain noise, whatever helps you sleep. If you're gonna have to, you have to be triggered by a phone.
Yes.
Even if you have to get up and go pee at night, then you should not grab your phone.
Don't
Yeah.
grab your phone.
You just
at
don't
all.
touch your phone.
Yes.
I
That's
love
it.
that.
It's not easy, but that's a basic rule for me. I just once it's down, it's down.
And when
Yeah.
you wake up, stay off your phone for some minutes first. There's something that I've learned to do over time, that whenever I wake up, the first thing I do is to pray. Then the second thing that I do even before dashing to the washroom, I count 100 to 1 backwards. Yes, on a daily basis. There's a way it rewires your brain. Because I know I do a lot of brain work. So my,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
my brain has to be on point at all times. So you count 100 back to 1 on a daily basis for like 7 days. Then later now you start going back to from 90, then 80. Yes, consequently. So these are some of the tips that I've used. And it has been good. Then I take a lot
Yeah.
of water, hydration, yes.
It'll make you get up
yes.
to go pee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know it makes you to go to pee, but it's good
Yeah.
for the
It's
body.
healthy.
No, that's a trick for me. Is I
It's
just
healthy.
don't, then I'll have to get up from if
Yeah.
I'm
Then-
sedentary. yeah.
Exactly.
Then the third thing, I check my bank account. Yes.
That motivates you. You're like, okay,
That
we have
will tell you
money.
how much you I need to
Yeah.
make money today. Hey. But you can't lazy around. You need to
I
make
love
money
that.
today.
I
Yes.
love that. And it's very healthy. And what I'm picking up is it has to be customized to you,
Yes.
your lifestyle, your needs, whatever you want to accomplish. So as we wrap it up, we've talked about what leadership is, we've touched on self-care, but then we also need to elevate. Constantly, we need to improve and get better so that we can stay on top of things. So as we wind up, Susanna, what would you say about maintaining our self-care, maintaining our mental health, prioritizing our peace, but still constantly elevating and making sure that we are even better and better every single day?
I think if you think of it in three ways, if you're feeding your spirit, you're taking care of your mental health, and you're taking care of your body. So constantly go through those three portions of yourself on a continuum. Every single day, have a weekly plan, have a monthly plan, have a long-term plan, but touch on each time.
Yeah.
How's my spirit doing? I'm a Christian, so for me and the Holy Spirit, are we on par? What am I doing that's not right? Are you watching over me? Like I talk to God like somebody I need every day. So for me, we have relationship. Then for me, mental health, like I said, I do therapy. I call Tuesdays, he knows. Tuesday, let's go. Uja log on. Niko na story mob leo.
Because
I'm a clinician. So I talk to a lot of women. By the time the week ends, I'm just like exploding. So if I don't get that out and he tells me how to put it in different boxes, then I'm useless when I get back in.
That's true.
And then I treat my body like what she needs that day or what she needs that week. I don't go by what the outside force tells me I should look. I'm not going to look for a size nice, cute 12. No. I look for, am I healthy? Do I feel good? What's hurting? Have I taken care of that thing? So as a clinician, I have to go there first. It's health. I've met size 20s who are healthy.
Yeah.
They can do Pilates and leave you spinning. You know?
That's
a simple thing like stretching before you wake up. Talk about counting. I stretch. Like for 2 minutes, the alarm goes off. I'll snooze it and then I'm just stretching my famous sciatica that hurts.
Yeah.
So just that 2 minutes in the bed, even if I didn't make the gym, I stretched in the morning.
That's enough.
I woke up with blood flow.
Exactly.
So it doesn't have to be something grand. So those three things, your spirit, your mind, and your body,
You
think of
always have
each
to
one.
check
Feed
in.
each one as you go. Which
I
one's
love
missing?
that.
Which one's missing? Which one's hurting? Which one do you have to put something in
Yeah.
to push you throughout the day, the week, the whatever it is?
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
I really love that. So now, because time is lapsing, I see, Belinda, you have an extra point. Maybe you can add that to your parting shot as you let us know where we can find you on your socials or any other platforms after this.
Yes. For self-care purposes, we have a program for youth. It's called the Youth Hangout, Susanna and I.
Yeah.
And we usually do it every Friday and Saturday in the night, and people log in virtually. We talk about the issues they've gone through during the week, and then we just dance till midnight.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yes, so many youths log in, and they say that in your form, youth hangout, in your form. I really needed to put that out there.
Yeah,
So if
thank
you're a young
you.
person and Fridays and Saturdays you don't have form, tutakupatia form.
Yes.
Yes.
Tuko na form.
Tuko na form.
They actually
Yeah.
sent in their request and we just found
They
ourselves
sent-
dancing one
yeah,
time until then we were like,
yes.
they're not logging off.
Yes, they send in their song requests.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
play.
And we
yes.
just play.
And it's fun. So where
it's
can we
decom-
where
it's
can we get the class?
It's decompressing.
Yeah,
Yes.
please let us know. What do we need to do? Where can we get the link for that? Because I'm available.
Yeah, I know.
I'm joining in tomorrow.
Yes,
Yeah.
dance, yes. Yeah. So my parting shot is to everyone who's watching Y254 right now, always choose you. Choose you. You come first. Choose you, because if you're not okay, then every other person around you will not be okay. So you need to constantly and intentionally choose you. I'm found on social media, Facebook, I'm Belinda Odhiambo, Instagram, I'm Belinda Odhiambo, LinkedIn, Belinda Odhiambo, Twitter, Belinda Odhiambo, TikTok, Coach Belinda Odhiambo. It was such a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Yeah, you went on the
Yeah, that was so
tangent.
cute.
I know, just
yeah.
like she had rehearsed that all the way. And
I
I'm thinking,
know it.
Okay, mine wasn't quite rehearsed.
Susanna, what about
But,
you? What's your parting shot?
My parting shot is the other element, apart from the intentionality that we spoke about. I like to let people know it's okay to drop the ball. It's okay to feel guilty, but because you should know you're going to feel that. Once you recognize that, then now it doesn't consume you.
Yeah.
Then recognizing it and doing something about it are two different things. But first, recognize it's going to be there. And that's
Yeah.
what has helped me deal with it, because then I can get help when I need help. It's helped me face my standards, lift them up, and so on. We've just started Suwaka, And on Facebook, I'm Swaka International. And then there's my website is www.swaka.org. So on there, we'll have all the resources. Like we talked about the youth hangout. We'll have the invitation for Zoom meetings and stuff like that on the website.
Thank you. That's wonderful.
You're
I
welcome.
think that's enough for the show. That is it for us for today. You need to prioritize your health, yourself, and make sure you take on those roles. As a woman, be empowered. Find the right circles who will push you to be better and do better. Find the right mentor. Find
Yeah.
a therapist, someone to talk to, someone to empower you and to constantly remind you of who you are.
Yes.
That is it for us for today. Hope you've enjoyed this entire show. We're going to have a repeat of this tomorrow between 1 and 2 p.m. It's also going to go up on YouTube. So in case you've missed anything, you can find it on our platforms. And we'll catch you guys next week. We're live every Thursday between 7 and 8 p.m. So have a good night and we will see you next week.